destroyed at T-Alloys, and without any Sunder or spawn options, it's gone. No, I mean, it's T-Alloys is not going to get saved here. I can't see Emerald's gal dropping, or
did they just forget about it? Did they just forget the SU could be taken? Maybe I don't. People forget these things sometimes in ServerSmashes.
Well, it's different. So Ayani Labs half platoon again is going for Ayani Labs from Vanu Archives. NS Research Labs has just been captured. There's a 50-50 fight going on at Snake Ravine, so that's probably fine. So you can see those NS Labs, Research Labs population being redeployed probably to Ayani Labs, so check that out. But they also have an offensive cap going on at Sandstone Gulch Mining, so that is really nice to see that, you know, Connery isn't just playing purely a defensive game. They are playing offensively, and they are getting bases. Emerald, oh wow, Connery's actually in the lead, 48-47, sorry. But that's probably going to flip as soon as T-Alloys goes.
Oh, it got blown up there. I don't think they're going to be able to...
Oh, that's right. So Connery went in the lead when they took NS Research Labs back, and now Emerald's going to retake the lead as soon as they get T-Alloys in the next 30 seconds. And with sub 2 minutes to go, we're looking at Ayani Labs. Ayani Labs does not have an SCU, otherwise it'd be exposed about now, about the halfway marker.
Making a very brave effort to try and take TI back, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
So they're watching the kind of the high ground on the double building, and they're watching over the vehicle spawn options. We can see Connery is beginning to spawn back in now to the base. Can you tell me the population numbers over Ayani Labs?
Ayani Labs is currently 59-41 in Connery advantage.
Right, so they are beginning to, and I'm assuming they're redeploying basically from the local base. Yeah, and with Galaxies overhead, it looks like the Sunders for Emerald are beginning to get picked off by Galaxy drops. So, in terms of Air Force, yes, I thought Emerald might have had air lead, but there's a lot of Galaxies being used by Connery. Connery using the Galaxy play to get where they need to be, get to where they want to attack, and using infantry redeployments to save their bases and to push forward into secondary bases. And we did see clearly that on Palisade they do have an Air Force that's still in contention. And it looks like this base...
Look at the NC holds. The NC hold on Sunstone, though. They have so many maxes in this point building.
But 50-50 population, though. Okay, we're over Sandstone Gulch Mining. Now this is what I'm getting at.
So many Scarecrow maxes.
Yeah, but Connery is fighting purely in the double building. They have all that population, and what are they doing? They're fighting in the double building. They're not trying to fight outside the double building, and I'd like to see perhaps more Sunders or more force multipliers on the outside, keeping them away from this building, because Emerald can move up to the building and EMP the building itself, and it makes it very difficult with grenades.
And if you fight outside the building, when it gets to that one point where people start redeploying force, and it's like 70% pop to them, you don't have to fight them straight. You can give ground and still keep on fighting, which makes you give a lot more time than if you just sat on the point. Because you can kind of, aggressively retreat whilst also defending at the same time. You don't have to just straight man fight them, which you just can't do if they have twice your numbers.
Well, yeah, we can see the Indar guys are beginning to... I'm trying to zoom in the minimap enough for you guys, but we can see that just by slow levels of attrition, that is the other problem here. Without a hard spawn or a Sunder option or force multipliers on the outside, Emerald is just slowly crumbling... it is destroying Connery's forces, and Connery can't resupply and get back in. And when their Air Force turns up as well, it's game over. But it does buy 2 minutes where Indar Bay Point can't be messed with.
Go to Snake Ravine. I think Emerald might have this. They have Sunderers on the point, on top of the point even. They've driven them inside Snake Ravine.
There you go. So force multipliers. So as we say, we're just talking about it all the time, and I'll shut up about it if it gets really irritating. They put something on... Oh, no, they haven't. This is safe. The thing is, anything that can buy you that extra 15-20 seconds at the end, that very end of the fight where you just mega zerg in and you go for the point because you have to, and then all care about self-preservation goes. That's what you need, those force multipliers, those Sunders, those things just to turn out in the last moment and say, nope, you can't have this. But good save by Connery.
Mass redeploys because the splash weapons like Bulldogs and Furies, which are really good against large numbers.
Okay, so a squad on Ayani Labs and a half platoon at NS Research Labs from Vanu Archives. Connery did not push their advantage when they had a link to Vanu Archives and try and capture it, or at least flip a point, because that would have prevented the cap going on at NS Research Labs. So I guess we'll go have a look at NS Research Labs and see how that's playing out. And really, Connery is playing a dangerous game here by redeploying bouncing between these three bases and playing with one big population redeploy, and it will mean that one of the bases will get so low that they're not able to redeploy in time and save it.
I wonder if we've seen an attack on East Canyon checkpoint yet, because they've had the link from Palisade, and I haven't really seen them use it. Same with Ceres Hydroponics. I mean, honestly, I think Ceres Hydroponics, East Canyon checkpoint, are pretty easy bases to attack if you punish the enemy. If they redeploy in late, they're really open points with a gap in between.
And like, so I've said this again, and I'll probably say this like one more time, right? Emerald is attacking Innis Research Labs, okay? So Connery sometimes attacks a base like Sandstone Gulch Mining before there's defenders there. Emerald's attacking Innis Research Labs before there's any defenders. So it's an uncontested base when they get here. They don't have to fight over it. Galaxy drop over top, dropping a couple of stragglers. I don't know if it's enough, but look at this. There's like 3 or 4 Sunderers that are being... They're trying to kill them, right? But look, this is what? Bulldog Fury Sunderers with blockade? It's super effective against infantry-only redeploys. No, I like this though.
Pretty smart. They've taken the position on the
They landed on the roof and they're using heavy assaults of rockets. That's very smart. Now, the thing is... yeah, it works.
If you had a Cobalt, that would kind of punish that, because it's not like the Bulldog. It's hard to aim up angles like that, but the drop, with a Cobalt, you can kind of keep them pinned down.
But those Sunderers bought, what, an extra 15, 20 seconds, maybe 30 seconds? And it forced the Connery guys, rather than going straight for the point, they had to land on the roof and make a saving play. And in terms of population, they actually outnumbered them 2-1 there when it came to that. So, Snake Ravine is being fully saved, slowly. Innis Research Labs is being saved, slowly. Looks like the fight between Sandstone Gulch Mining and Indar Bay Point is kind of staled out. Ayani Labs is still ticking down with 2 minutes to go. So is there a Connery force that can redeploy there and save it, or is it going to go down? We'll see. We've got to see some Emerald Air Force.
Maybe the force that was just secured research labs will go to Ayani. Maybe if they're using, kind of a platoon as an area of operation.
The thing is, the attacking force from Emerald, it looks like they've moved to Ayani Labs as well, and they've got some of their Air Force here as well with Banshee rockets. So
they have hardspawns as well. The Sunderers. Sorry,
they got triple Sunder set up as well, and now the fact is that Connery is doing the redeployment with the Galaxy, is dropping the points, but things like AV mines and whatnot, they're expensive. They are expensive nanite wise, and you can't keep doing it all the time.
And they have deployment shield if you have a look, so they take even more to kill. They probably cost us more to kill these Sunderers than it does for them to pull more of them. They win their resource war.
Well, they're beginning to, the Connery force is beginning to spawn in, and it looks like they're running along the double building on the north. Oh yeah, they do. Well, they actually got a deployed Sunder, okay, forcing Emerald to take it down. Some Emerald Air Force are going to do something on the outside here on this west of the double building. Well, they're pounding away. In sub 60 seconds now. The fact is, it's an external capture point. But they're controlling the double building, the Emerald forces. It's much closer than it's been previously, put it that way. This is a very, very close fight. And this may force... Yeah, so the entire defending force that saved Innis Research Labs, they're gone. The Snake... There's quite an overpop slightly at Snake Ravine. They don't need to be there. Ayani Labs is quite critical now. But this is another instance where it's going to be a big... Okay, so Galaxy overhead. Going to drop on the point at the last moment. Or not drop at all. Alright, one guy. One medic on the point, and he didn't do anything. Okay, so but anyway, as we see, Connery's actually managed to push up. They've taken the double building, they're pushing up to the capture point with 15 seconds to go. Surely they can run to the capture point in the next 13 seconds.
But no, they can't, because...
Oh, but Emerald forces are hiding behind the post. They need more infantry. They need all the... Oh, wow, that was close. Connery almost lost there because Emerald did a really smart play by hiding behind the pillar and just keeping enough people.
The force is still here. They might not have it yet. There's lots of TR coming in. I think they could
get... Their Air Force is still bombarding the Connery. Look at the amount of pounding that the Emerald Air Force is doing against Connery. This res grenade is massive. The amount of people that are going to get picked up. It's going to be very, very important. I mean, yeah, I think Emerald's now finally got it, but they are taking an absolute pounding from the Emerald Air Force.
The corpse lot are just getting thrown revive nades.
The Banshee kills is absolute murder. Murder. But it's working. This human wave tactic, to be honest, Connery should be playing TR or the Communists because of human wave tactics that they're using.
This isn't freedom, this is authoritarianism right here in the NC.
You will push the point and you will die there and take it back.
They have the guys hiding behind the trees. They're the commissars shooting the people who won't go onto the point.
56% population. They've got the point back now. It's going to be very hard for Emerald to take it back unless they do something else. Another battle Sunder for Connery. Sorry, for Emerald against Connery. It's being effective. I suppose if Emerald wants to mega redeploy, they can. They've got deployed Sunders. Anyway, looking at the rest of the map while this is going on, briefly, I'll tell you what, we'll watch the rest of this fight out, then we're just going to update on the rest of the map and what's going on. You see the Emerald's now beginning to wrap around this protective wall, and they're beginning now to pick off the Sunders. I think Emerald is calling it, and they're not spawning in anymore.
And I think they're going to commit to Palisade instead. They have look at the Sunders they have on point. When Connery was here when they took it, they didn't do this. You pointed that out. They didn't have the Sunders here at its base. They just used air cover and maxes up far, like being very aggressive with maxes. But Emerald have brought in so many Sunders, I can't even count them. Sunders, Lightnings, Mozzies, everything is here at the Palisade.
Check that bridge push now in the center. Big push. There's not the Air Force, so this bridge push it's enough guys, put it this way. The problem is they're going to have to go through the doorway if they're going through the single building.
Two Sunderers. Each of these maxes is 2 Sunderers with the resources. Is that really worth it? I mean, does that max do more than the Fury Sunderer? I don't think so.
Alright, can you refresh please?
Alright. Just refreshing the stat page. And look, these 2 Sunderers absolutely demolished everything that came out the central doorway that came through the bridge. So perhaps the best, so the best option is what Connery's doing at the moment is they're dropping off the side, going into the L building, overlooking the capture point, and now they've got such a population advantage, they'll run on the point, which would be much harder for these Sunders to kind of interfere with.
One Fury Sunderer up there. I don't think it can hold.
No, it's too much of an ask with everything going on, especially he can't do anything about the point. He can try and get as many kills as he wants, but there you go. And they got infantry reinforcements coming in from the south with their deployed Sunder, but 50-50, and they've got the point now. So Emerald, nearly, good work with the force multipliers, but at the end, put it this way, they made Connery spend a buttload of nanites. I mean, an absolute massive amount of nanites. And if you can keep that pressure up consistently, it'll pay off. Check out NS Research Labs, sub 60 seconds. And also Ayani Labs is ticking down as well. This is a right thorn. The inability to get
and they still have
archives
at Palisade from T Emerald now as well, so they can't leave it, because if they get back on point, it'll just be a minute before it goes down.
And this all stems, alright, so they're just outside the capture point as we go in. This all stems from the inability to get probably what I consider is the 2 most important bases for the south. That is Crimson Bluff Tower and Vanu Archives. Last time we played on Indar, Miller was on south, and they were able to get Vanu Archives, and that secured their southern flank, but they weren't able to get Crimson Bluff, and they paid for it. And it looks like that's what's happening to Connery. And actually, Connery's mega redeploying with the Spawn Sunder to the north. There's a lot of infantry, an absolute ton of infantry on the point, and with 14 seconds to go, I think NS Research Lab is going to fall to Emerald for the second time now, and it's going to open up options.
Unless they get a Galaxy, and I can't see Connery.
No, but look at inside the spawn room, the capture room itself. It's huge numbers of TR. There you go. So Emerald now takes NS Research Labs, and they push their advantage now to 50-46. And Ayani Labs is still ticking down. Palisade's been saved. The Crown has actually been fought for, so we'll go check that out in a minute. But we'll go check Ayani Labs first.
A lot of this stems from what you said earlier. Connery weren't defending the lattice lanes. Not even just if you're not even going to attack a base and take it, but just get a harassment cap on it.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about defending.
I mean, I don't want to be too critical here of Connery, but I mean, ultimately, if you don't get Vanu Archives, fight at Vanu Archives. This is really hurting them because they're doing now. If they fight at Vanu Archives, they still need to defend Snake Ravine because they lost a lot on Botany Wing. That's you understand that, but this is a right pain in the backside because they're having to fight at multiple bases, which is favouring Emerald because it's forcing Connery to mega redeploy all the time.
Which is sapping their ability to attack elsewhere on the map as well, because they have to bring in these forces from other places, so they can't keep pushing.
Yeah, and then you would stay like if the NS Research Labs are so there's a cap going on now at Vanu Archives. But that's only because they managed to get one off before Snake Ravine went. But it looks like Vanu Archives is the main air spawn and harasser spawn of Emerald, as we just checked the map for a moment. I think the TR attacking force that was at NS Research Labs is now redeployed to Ayani Labs. They've spawned in the Sunder, they pushed off what was potentially a Connery save, because Connery was flipping the point, and now we're sub 75 seconds on Ayani Labs, and they've got a reasonable strong control. They're pushing and fighting for control of the double building, and they're on the point. It's scrappy, very, very scrappy. It's not as kind of locked down as it was last time. Connery needs to deploy a lot more people. Really. They're only on 49% Connery. They've got a motion sensor up so they can see what's going on. They've got beacons set up, but it's 54 seconds, and the thing is, they can't keep redeploying. Like, your quick reaction force, your QRF, even if you're asking them to redeploy, go here, redeploy, go there, they're not going to be able to pull maxes all the time.
what else I think is smart as well, while we have some air-to-ground Aussies fighting here, the Connery Air Force is currently fighting over Howling Pass, that area. That's currently Connery and Emerald Air Force is having a big fight there. They're splitting up their air forces into air-to-ground and just trying to keep the other air forces.
Howling Pass, but that doesn't serve... The fighting right now is going all on the Western Front. That's where you need your air force. Surely, right? I mean, there's barely anything going on.
You really want.
There's a fight in its material storage, but that's small numbers. I mean, you know, you've got an overpop that you can perhaps kind of assist with. Anyway, so the double building still been TR control, and now we're sub 3 seconds. I don't see any Connery forces to get to the point. And look at the number of Emerald. Yeah, there you go. So the number of Emerald forces that were behind the pillar there, it wasn't going to matter even if a guy did make it. So very big pushes. Regardless of having Indar Bay Point, Connery is now being pushed from behind. Getting Ayani Labs is big because now it opens up Highland Solar and Ceres Farms. Another set of options. Paris Field Tower is also under vulnerability. Snake Ravine hasn't been able to push, but the fact is Emerald can apply pressure at lots of bases at once, and Connery needs to learn how to send the right number of people to defend a base. Because we see them overcommitting. Yeah, because we see them overcommitting numbers and it works, and overcommittal of population, and that's fine. But Emerald is basically applying pressure on multiple bases and using force multipliers to force Connery to send more than 50% to win the fight. And if you fight at more than one base, it's not enough. And as we're looking at the we're not at the Crown, we are at the Palisade. More force multipliers, more spawn sunderers, and a fresh attack on the Palisade by Emerald. 58%.
And they're really good at keeping all the bases or in lanes ticking down. The only base that Connery are assaulting on is Sandstone Gulch, whereas they're getting pushed back into the lanes, which means they have to keep making those defensive saves.
Yeah, and this is the thing, right? I mean, in terms of like the number of bases involved, where we need to go, if we see the map timeline. So I think that's accurate. Our current map timeline. I'll come out of the map so you guys can see it. So we can see that for a while Connery was lead, and then Emerald, and it was back and forth. But now this very important 3 big base plays, perhaps a little bit more than that. I'm not sure about the stats on the refresh. But in terms of base plays, if you've got Indar Bay Point, going for Sandstone Gulch mining, are you going to get it after a couple of times? No. What happens if you do get it? Well, then you go to Havar Western. There's 2 potential bases, and that's it. I would rather use the offensive force at Indar Bay Point to resecure the Ayani Labs, the Ennis Research Labs, and apply fresh pressure on Vanu Archives if I was Connery. You obviously need to keep securing Snake Ravine Lookout, the Crown small kind of fighting, and you don't want to lose Palisade, because then you don't want to lose it, but if you do, then what happens is it opens up fights at Crimson Bluff, and